All right, David, our first question for today is, what do you do when you feel like your love for God is fading? This comes from Maria Lopez. She says, sometimes I feel like my passion for God isn't what it used to be. I feel distant and disconnected, not just from God, but from even wanting him. How can I reignite my love for God, and how do I keep my heart in a place of devotion?
That's a great question. Who submitted that?
Maria.
Maria.
Yeah.
The first thing I would say to Maria, Lance, is don't overreact. I mean, to use some verbiage from our youth, we'd say, don't freak out.
Mm.
The connection that we sense with God in our relationship with him, just like most every relationship we have with another person, God is a person. He's a real person that we can have relationship with and interact with. Just because of the variations in who we are, our own times of life, stresses, times of blessing, times of difficulty in our life, how we're doing physically. All of these have an impact on how we connect with other people relationally. I understand the feeling that Maria's talking about. It's like, man, I don't feel as connected with God as I did a couple weeks ago or a year ago. And Lance, that can be a very disconcerting feeling. And it's worthy of investigation, but it's not something to react with immediate like panic.
Mm-hmm.
Because we shouldn't do that with any of the relationships in our life. You know, in a marriage relationship, the husband and wife are not going to be riding together on this all-time high of flushed, feverish feeling their entire married life.
They're not?
Well, yeah, I know for you and Lynn, it's been like that. But, you know, there's just going to be sort of a very natural ebb and flow. That's not to say that there's not some things that Maria and we all should be doing. But I think that we can overreact to how we feel in a relationship with God instead of just resting in his love, in his care for us. You know, Lance, it's always worth reminding ourselves, the core of the Christian life is never what I do for God or how I feel about God. The core of the Christian life is what God has done for me in Jesus Christ. Now, what I do for God has a place, and I think even how I feel about God has a place, but that's not the core. The core is what God has done for me in the person and work of Jesus Christ. Now, if Maria's in that place where she really needs to build relationship with God, go deeper in relationship with God, I think people tend to overcomplicate this. How do we build relationship with anybody, with any person? Mm-hmm. Well, you spend time with them. You listen to them. You speak to them. You hang out with others who also like that person. You just give more of a focus. You sort of decide to think about them more. You do things with them and for them. Mm-hmm. And all of those have a sense of application in our relationship with God. If we want to listen to God, how do we do it? First and foremost, we do it by reading the Word. You know, the Bible is where God authoritatively, and we always know that God is speaking when we read the Bible. But there's also times just in prayer where we come and just wait before the Lord and honor him and worship him. We speak to God. We listen to God. We spend time focused upon him. These are things that we would do in any relationship that we wanted to build with another person. And I think we can just practically do these in our relationship with God. So Lance, those are some of the thoughts on my mind. What do you think of Maria's question? How do you kind of pass it through your mind?
Very much as you have. It's a relationship, and any relationship is going to go through seasons where you feel the relationship, and other times where you don't. It doesn't change the fact that you're in still relationship with them. And I think the analogy to marriage or any friendship really is. Yes, I think it's easy for Christians to look back on the first days and the passion that they had because everything was new. You were coming into this new relationship, and it was so vibrant and real and intense. And then as time goes by, you settle into it, very much like a marriage. The reality is, though, that the relationship doesn't change. I love a term that you and I picked up years ago from a book. There's a difference between relationship and fellowship. Relationship doesn't change, but the fellowship, the intensity of the fellowship, the sense of connection with someone, can grow or diminish over time. It doesn't change the relationship.
Right.
I have a son. That's our relationship. That will not change. But we are not in fellowship for the simple reason that he's living in Washington State, right, and I'm here in Southern California. Right. So when we connect, when we're together, we're in fellowship. But we're not, and the relationship doesn't change, but the fellowship does. And I think that just keeping that in mind is a good way to process our relationship with the Lord.
There's one further thing that I would do when it comes to a person's relationship with God. And that's simply the recognition that we can live all of our life with the recognition of the presence of God in the midst of it.
Yes.
God isn't somebody that we visit for an hour or hour and a half on Sunday when we go to church.
Right.
He's with us all the time. And to recognize that, to use the title of that old Brother Lawrence book, The Practice of the Presence of God. That's something also that can really breathe some freshness in our relationship with God.
Yeah, that's the real difference between our relationship with God and all others.
Yes.
While we can't be in fellowship with certain people because of something like distance, the reality of the potential for intimate fellowship with God is always there, because he is the most intimate person that we are in relationship with.
And there is such a thing as a maturing of relationship.
Yes.
That doesn't have to run on the red hot fumes of high feeling, where there's a trust, a confidence, and say, Lord, I love you. I know you love me. I know you care for me. As you help me and as you empower me, I am committed to you. I don't need to run on the fumes of the feeling all the time. Because there's a depth of love relationship there.
Yeah, I think we might be worn out if that intensity were to carry on for a long period of time.
Yeah.
It shifts into something, I think, more substantial and real. It moves beyond just that what I'm feeling into a fixed center of I know. Right. It's moved beyond feeling into a deep, rewarding sense of knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. All right. This one is from a poll.